Good evening. We'll call the Boarding Zone of Appeals for February the 23rd. The quorum being present, if you'd just review the minutes if you would, and make any amendments or changes you may request. I'll take a motion.
Make a motion we accept the minutes as presented.
There's a motion. Do you have a second?
A second.
You have a second. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, on to old business. Front setback variance, front yard variance, side variance, rear yard variance, landscaping variance, and dustless pavement variance for self-storage at 287 Sand Hill Road, probably owned by G&CB Enterprises. Green.
Mr. Chairman, we have requested to defer this until next month. I know we had a deferral from last month, but they still have to get some things in order.
Okay. Moving on, new business. Rear yard variance, front yard variance, landscaping variance for existing property located at 5154 Murfreesboro Road. Tax map 15M, Group B, parcel 5.01, property owned by Bobby Smith.
Chairman, this is from a plat submittal subdivide the rear portion of Smith's Grocery from the into a separate lot. The existing grocery does not meet current requirements, and there's the 3 variance requests for this. One being to reduce the front yard to 8 feet. There's about 8-foot strip there between the right-of-way and the property there. And then to reduce the rear yard to 0 feet, which the existing property there is pretty much all pavement, and that would reduce the required rear yard down to 0. And also a reduction of landscaping, and the applicants agreed to plant 2 maples and some shrubs along the side yard prior to the plat being recorded. And this is the area here where they would be planting that to kind of somewhat meet us in the middle on the landscaping requirement, since it's an existing structure. I got it's all C2 in that area. There's the front of the property, the existing property, lot 1. Here's the side yard. This is the general area where the landscaping will be installed. There's the side from the rear. And this is basically where lot 2 would start. You have the TVA lines up here. There's an easement. They would be able to build underneath that. And then they have a corner piece of that property that would be a buildable area. There's the other side that's a shared access between the 2 buildings.
The lot that he's gonna split off of that, will they have a right of way into that?
Yes, there's a right of way that's been it's been recorded behind the building. Basically, it's a 50-foot right of way, which is the required right of way for any roadway in the city. However, there's no public road back there. Normally, with the plat, if they were subdividing and giving us right of way, they would have to install the public road. But since the right of way's already been given to the city in the past, it's an odd situation that basically this is just splitting the lots, and we can't really require the right of way on that. However, I know we talked about the water service, and that's something that's been addressed on the plat, and we'll talk about that. That'll be a planning commission item, but basically that right of way is just, it's there, but we can't really require the public road improvement.
On the landscaping variance, they're coming up with 2 maples. I mean, it's quite a large property. Is the reason why they can't meet the requirement for landscaping?
I had talked to him about that. They do have some existing shrubs in the front there which it's actually out in the right of way, but I think they do maintain those. And then this side yard, it's kind of limited on what they can do, how much landscaping they could install. I mean, they could potentially install more than that, but it's just something that I suggested they do plant some trees in that side yard and some shrubs to kind of meet us in the middle somewhat on the landscaping requirement.
They can't put trees on the front of the lot on Murfreesboro Road?
They could potentially do that. I know there's some overhead utilities there, and that could create an issue. Possibly some understory trees, something small might work, but I think they have, made an effort to install landscaping.
Where that marker is that the highway right away?
Yes, sir, that's the property line.
They wouldn't have much room to put a tree in front then, would they? Unless they put it in the right of way.
Yeah, there's about 8 feet there between and that's the front yard area. This would be the reduction from, normally it'd be 20 on a new development that we require, but
Right.
with the existing development, it's pretty much all there is 8 feet.
But you could put smaller bushes or shrubs in replacement.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How many do they plan to put? How many shrubbery do they plan on putting there?
I think they had 8 additional shrubs in addition to the ones that are existing here. I think there was 8, and then 2 maple trees that they were going to put in, some big canopy trees.
I mean, if you try to put any trees in that front, underneath those power lines, you just ask them for trouble down the road. If you try to put in very low bushes, it's gonna be hard to get it to see coming in and out probably. Isn't that right? Isn't it gonna block the view a little bit?
Yeah, it could, and I think that's that's something that could be considered either way as possibly a
Is
hardship.
that why you ask them down the side, to put them down the side of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Down that
kind
area
of
right there, okay.
where I had suggested that those go, so they're out of the way utilities.
Okay.
And the rear yard variance is down to 0 lot line?
Yes, sir. I have the existing pavement back there, and they use it as a access point for their trucks, I think, in the back.
So the lot line will be along the edge of the pavement, is that correct? Is that what we're talking about?
It kind of crosses in between. If you look at you've got the access that kind of
Does the aerial,
splits in
does
the
the
middle
aerial
right
you
away.
had, does it show it, does the aerial shot you had show where the lot lines would be?
I think I'm on the wrong way there.
That one right there.
Yeah.
Is that approximately where the lot lines would be right there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. So we don't mean the lot line's gonna be up against the building, it's gonna be away from the building out in the paved area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Chairman, do we have to have separate motions for this, or do they all include in one?
We can take this as one. Anyone from the public like to speak on this matter? With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take a motion, one way or the other, for the rear yard variance, front yard variance, and landscaping variance for the property at 5154 Millsboro Road.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
We have a motion to approve the variances. Do you have a second?
Second.
Do you have a second? Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. New business, item 3, variance for an accessory structure in a C2 zoning district for a portable structure to be used for a meeting space at the Miracle Baptist Church located at 5361 Millsboro Road, property owned by Miracle Baptist Church.
Yes, sir, Chairman. Miracle Baptist is requesting to add a portable structure behind their existing church building. This would actually take up some of their parking area, we noticed in reviewing this, and what they're asking to do is put in an accessory structure that's 2,800 square, or approximately 2,800 square feet. This is where we run into an issue with our current requirement is 1,500 square feet total for the whole lot for a commercial type use. And they already have a 400 square foot storage shed in the rear of the property. The other items to consider in this would be that their existing church building is approximately 20,000 square feet. So this is, the addition would actually be much smaller than the primary structure, which I think was one of the intents of the ordinance when it was passed to limit the size of accessory structures. And also, they had there's an aerial. There's a structure back here, and it was, I think, approximately about 1,000 square feet. We looked down the GIS. That has been removed since the aerial was done in 2007, and that's been taken off the property since, and they're wanting to add this structure in this area right here. I think one concern as staff when we went and looked at this was make sure that they maintain their handicap parking and make sure that there's enough handicap parking in the back, but I think it probably can be done. Just looking at they have some handicap parking up here that I think can be serve as what they need for the lot. It's
That about where the building is going, right in front of that steps going up over there?
yes, sir. From the drawing that they provided, this is the approximate location of the portable building.
So they're gonna take are those ADA for the van and to those three, or what's that, the van?
Yeah, there's I think pasture parking there.
Oh, okay, those aren't ADA.
And, well, I think one of them is an actual ADA space, so they would have to, if it does take up where that space is at, they would need to accommodate that as well, and we would work with them on that if they need.
But you said if they move that down, they're gonna replace, they will meet the requirements with the ADAs.
If they would have to have a sign out front of their van accessible space, and as well as have the number of handicap spaces needed.
So when they add the addition, do they still meet the requirement for the total parking as well as?
We didn't get the seat total for their for the church, so I don't know. It's basically whether or not it's fixed seating or movable seating. I think that is something that I know I'd spoken with Pam Biggs about, which was one of the applicants, and we do need to know really what their parking would be there. So, in order to make sure that they have adequate parking after the additions put in.
Is this new structure, is it classrooms?
Yes, sir.
So it won't be into the sanctuary, just be classrooms?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it gonna have restrooms in it?
I'm not for sure that, I don't know if that was addressed in the letter or not.
Well, I noticed that the rest of the church is brick. What is this supposed to be? If it's a temporary, is this like a 2-year deal and then they'll come back and build something permanent, or?
I didn't get those details on the application, and I think we have maybe some people here that represent the application, and they may be able to speak on that.
Someone from the church would like to step up and just ask a few questions if you could?
Yes.
You step to the podium and raise your right hand to be sworn in, please.
Do you swear or promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Will you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Mike Slinker, 608 Maple Drive, Laverne, Tennessee, 37086.
So just a couple of questions I think you heard was comments, is there a restrooms be in the new addition or not? Any restrooms?
No restrooms at all.
Okay.
No, sir.
And the replacement of the ADA parking, you've made accommodations for that or will make accommodations for that?
Yes, that is correct. On the drawing, if I may, could I use your pointer, please? Board, thank you for the question. What I'd like to do is show you where the end of the building would actually sit. So the pastor's parking currently sits right here. The end of the building would actually stop there. There's a handicap parking place right here. The pastor's parking will then become AVA. We will have one parking space right here, which is currently the pastor's parking spot, which will be made into AVA, thus complying with the regulations. As far as, I believe you had a question, Mr. Jones, as it related to the structure on the outside, or maybe that was Mr. Rutledge. I apologize for that.
That's all right.
We look alike.
That's right. That's exactly right. So the outside structure will be redone in vinyl siding, which will match the color of the trim of the church. So the color will actually match this trim of the church.
The idea of timeline, it says temporary. Do you have a timeline that you envisage for this?
Yes. So the structure will actually be purchased from the Williamson County Medical Center, actually from Action Mobile. It was actually used as a physical therapy unit, and so it's a forward quad unit, mobile unit that we're going to put together into a about 2,880 square feet of a building. And then we will probably, our plans are to have this completed by June 1st. So ribbon cutting ceremony, we're looking at June 1st.
So it's going to be a permanent structure, right, to the church?
So
No, sir. No, sir. It will be as an accessory to the church. It will be not, it's not going to be connected to the church.
Okay.
So,
No, but I think his question is are you going to be there for a 1 year, 2 year building and then removed and then built on, or is there a timeline that you envisage for the, quote, new addition temporary building?
good question, Chairman. We're probably looking at probably a 5-year time period of this, looking at the growth of our church. Of course, this is phase one, getting through our AWANAS program. Our director, Jamie Webb, is here, that actually runs our director of the children's department. And so that's a very good question. I can't answer that at this point to see exactly what we would do for the second stage. I'm not at the point to answer that question, but we do have some others here that may be able to have some insight on that. But we're probably looking at about a 5-year plan to see where this goes, because we haven't fully maxed out our capacity for our church and our sanctuary. And so this will actually accommodate the AWANAS program for the discipleship training for the kids.
How tall is it? I mean, just stories.
Oh, it's one level, one level,
So it won't exceed the height of the present structure.
correct.
Do we have any code concerns as far as this structure being next to the other one without firewalls or any kind of protection between them, or
I think it's gonna be separated enough,
enough that it won't, you know, interfere?
going by the sketch we've been provided. And if there is, once they get to the point of moving it in, we'll have an inspector to, like I said, he's gonna have to apply for a permit, and make sure that the separation distances are okay.
One thing to add to that, Council, the end of the building would actually sit where the end of the pavement lies. So there is a unit that sits, you can't see it from this sketch, but there is a central heating and air unit that's there. So this grass will remain
Will remain there, okay.
once the building is placed.
Okay. Will this building be visible from Murfreesboro Road?
Yes. From,
From Murfreesboro Road?
well, when you're coming down right before you get into Easy Street, there's a red light. And so
as you're coming up through there, you'll just be able to see the side of it a little bit.
You can see the side of the
Side.
building there, yes.
It won't
You-
be visible from, if you're in the front of the church.
That is correct. That is correct. But from Murfreesboro Road, as you're driving
But-
down there, you could probably see the
Can
side.
you let Grant put the aerial back up so I can see that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot I had that.
Magic touch. Okay, there you go.
I mean, from our little sketch right here, it looks like it's gonna be tucked in all the way in that corner, but from what he's saying to us, it's gonna be sticking more out to the edge of the sanctuary. Is that correct?
No, no.
Yeah, if it,
I might need the pointer.
you want the pointer back?
Yeah. The only view that you would actually have is if you're coming down Murfreesboro Road, right here, you may have a direct angle
Right
at the
through there,
corner of
okay.
that building right there.
Okay.
That's about the only angle that you're gonna get. But, full disclosure, I wanted to make sure that
Thank you,
this building could
thank you.
show up.
Do you have a driveway right above where you were pointing going in? Is the building going to block that one driveway? Or have you got two driveways up through there?
There's a roundabout there, that's located right here. and-
Right. Is the
And that building will not cover that up.
It
No,
won't
sir.
block any of that?
No, sir. The building will end about right at the end of that, where that parking place is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then it will be flush to the concrete of the steps of the current existing structure.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Anyone else like to speak on this in the public? Any other questions or comments? With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take a motion.
I make the motion to approve the variance.
Have a motion. I'd just like to maybe suggest just a couple of items to ensure that the ADA requirements are met upon completion, and put a 5-year from occupancy timeline for the temporary building to make sure that in 5 years it still meets the intent, and perhaps come back at that point in time to ensure that they meet the codes and the requirements.
Yes.
Okay, so everyone understand it? Bruce, you get that?
Yes,
We'll take a second.
sir. A second.
We have a second. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Any other business? Meeting's adjourned.
All righty.